There, Outliers. Niyama Shang here, and thank you so very much for letting us be a part of your journey here today. We're coming at you live here with an Outliers Edge Roundtable, where we are joined by Eric Grafstrom and Hyacinth Tucker. Um, Thank you both for making the time to share your expertise, share the way that you look at the world, and to give us an experience of who you be as a leader. Like that's something I'm really excited to go ahead and play with here. So why don't as we get in here, let's go ahead and we'll start off with Eric here. I want to make sure that Outliers get a chance to get to know you. Would you mind sharing more about you and the game you're currently playing?
Sure. Today I serve as a fractional CEO or COO, as well as a coach for founders, business owners. Long background in early stage technology. Um, Spent about 17 years in Silicon Valley and worked in London as well, and kind of grew from a sales guy into an operator. And where I am today in the game that I like to play is I've been very blessed with a lot of opportunities and fascinating experiences, and I feel strongly that you know, um, it brings me joy, but it's also part of my responsibility to give back and to help others along the way because so many people help me.
Well, thank you for doing that there, and then thank you for finding ways to give back in this forum as well as in the ways you do in your business. So I'm glad to have you here, Eric. Hyacinth, how about you? Let's get a chance to know you. Tell us more about you and the game you're currently playing.
Sure. So once again, I am Hyacinth Tucker, and I've been a serial entrepreneur for about 2 decades now. But the current game that I'm playing is in the space of laundry and linen and how it impacts our communities and how just important it is. And so when we talk about employment, health, as well as confidence, how it plays a part. So I'm excited to get into more of that.
Well, this is like really interesting, Hyacinth. Like right off the bat, where you went straight from like laundries and linens, and then you immediately made like here goes the higher level play that's being at this year, like tying it to communities, tying it to confidence. I will be honest, I did not see that coming right away. Uh, and like and that's how I know. I'm like, man, I'm really playing with some outliers here, right? Because they take the average and you find a way to level it up into something meaningful, right? So
Yes.
like why don't we start with that kind of as one of our central premises here, right? Because that's one of the things I look at when I think about the outlier elements of it all, where it's like there's the average, there's the status quo, there's the way that things are supposed to be, and then there's the way that we choose to show up. And so I'd like to hear from each of you here, like what's one way that you show up as an outlier in the ways that in your thinking or in the things that you choose to pursue. Would either of you like to get us started on that?
Take it away, Senator Tucker.
Sure. I'll go. So as I was saying, I started my business by happenstance. It really was what we call a act of kindness for a friend. I went to her house and I walked in and there were just piles and piles of laundry everywhere. And we laughed about it and we joked about it because, of course, who loves to do laundry? But what I realized is that she was actually buying new clothes instead of washing the clothes that she had. And I was like, wow, that's not sustainable. And we're not talking about a pair of underwear. We're talking about full on outfits. Now, looking back, that may have been that she was just a shopaholic, but we're going to stick to what happened on that day. And she looked at me and she said, I wish there was someone that could come and take all these clothes and do it for me, and I would pay for that. And so she paid me $20. I said I would do it. She gave me $20, and that's literally how my business started. But as I continued to grow in the business, I really saw how clean clothes not only affects, we talk about like giving you back your time, right? So busy professionals. And that's great. But I also saw how it impacts employment. So when we look at our returning citizens, what really makes a difference is like being able to have a clean suit, a clean outfit on when they go to interviews. So we work with nonprofits, and as they get clothes donated, we launder them and we deliver them to our unhoused population. Then we also saw how it affects like confidence. And we work with school systems who had issues with bullying. So they had kids that were not coming to school because they were being bullied because they didn't smell a certain way or their clothes weren't clean because their parents didn't have access to a washing machine or a way to wash their clothes. And we started doing things like that. So really we become more of like a community conscious social impact organization and not just a laundry service.
Wow, you're
I love it.
awesome.
I love
That's,
it.
I'm a faith-driven entrepreneur. God bless you. Keep doing it. You're
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you. I appreciate that.
I want to build off of this in a bit, but like, yeah, Eric, would love to hear your take on it.
Well, look, my entrepreneurial journey probably started in college and was, making t-shirts and selling them and doing other things. I think, at least for me, the way I was wired and created was I'm not an optimizer. If I'm in a highly structured corporate environment, let's just say I struggle. I've also described it as either the organ has rejected the body or the body's rejected the organ, but either way, it's tough. And I find joy in the creation of something and helping people create. And as I've progressed through my life and my career, it's also, a lot of it becomes encouragement. It's just when people say, well, I'm not sure if I can, and I'm not, I'm not good at that, is to stop them and just say, look, first of all, we're not using that language. We're not using those words. Plenty of people have been able to succeed. You can. So for me, it is really, I find that joy in creation. And it is a little bit like a drug. It's just a thing that when you see something that takes shape over time and seems impossible and moves along a continuum, when you see it start to click and it's some whether it's mine or someone else's vision starts to come to life, it's awesome.
I'm actually really like enthused in hearing this here because like something that's playing out for me right now is this like component of uh I'm living out my vision in a bit, right? But I'm like I feel like this is only 1% of what it is, you know? And as I hear Eric, what you just said here around like seeing the vision come to life over time. And Hyacinth, like as I heard you say, like, it started out with my friend and she gave me $20. And then you're like, now we're in schools and all this. I was like, but what happened like the next week? And like the next 6 months, like did that happen? Was that like the next day or what? You know? And so I would love for y'all to talk. This is me asking on a selfish basis here, and this is also coming from the place that obviously we're all creating. Like none of us is stuck, you know. But I am very curious about how y'all like give yourself the grace for the longer term vision to come to life while you're in the space of it not actually like living or being realized in the level that you want it to be. Either one of you want to start us off on that one?
Yeah, I see it definitely as a journey. I mean, life, of course, is a journey, and these are just like chapters. So I have been really good as far as giving myself grace for the different I guess, episodes of life, right? And so we know that it's not a linear path. And so it's kind of more like this roller coaster path that we all go on. And even in the business, like, yes, it didn't start off like that, right? But what it is that I gave myself grace to actually look at everything as an opportunity. And so I think like I remember reading that book and it was like called like The Year of Yes. And it was like, what would happen if you just opened yourself up to different opportunities, saying yes to things that you may normally say no? Who are the new people that you would meet? Where are the places that you would go? The opportunities that you would have, the rooms that you would get into if you do that. And so now I kind of live, a life like more like that. And it's kind of like you just never know. Right. And so I took that opportunity with that friend, really, like I said, just to help her out. But it opened my eyes out to like something bigger, right? Something bigger than me, and what, some ills that were happening, in my community. And I was able to see things from a different lens, right? Because you don't really think about stuff like, clothing and, water insecurity and those types of things in different places, unless you're like kind of open your eyes to it. And so now I'm like in a totally different world. I have a MBA. My background is more in insurance. And it's like now I'm like the laundry lady. Who would have thought? Right. So, but I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I really get to see the impact every single day, and that's one of the things I hear someone say, you know,
Outliers. Hyacinth right now, she's having a little bit of like a bit of spottiness
Yeah.
with that
Okay.
connection here. So that might happen every once in a while. One of the things that we've learned is that we're never going to let the internet or a connection stop greatness from coming through. If you end up being a lot for like energetically a lot for the connection there, we know it's because you're saying something of high import. So well, like that's my thing. It never catches you when you're just like snoozing
Right.
on in the background, right? It's like I have something
Never.
important to say
Never.
right now. Switch it
Never.
up. All right, but Outliers, like just know, like for this conversation, we're gonna keep this here. We're gonna keep rolling with it because like this is life. And what I get about Hyacinth is that like you understand that we show up no matter what. And I get that about you. All right. So I think we lost just the last thing you said, but like don't worry about having to go back. Like my question here is like, is there anything you'd like to say to wrap up this thought here, or not? Like let's give you the stage once again.
I was just saying it's just opening up and the impact. So I was just giving a scenario, and I'll wrap it up with that of just like she had to choose between having clean clothes or a good night's sleep, right?
Mhm.
Those are the decisions that some people are making when it comes to laundry. As we know, people working longer hours, more jobs to make ends meet. And so with that means like some of the household things kind of get pushed to the side. So we talk a lot about that and of course about delegation and making people aware that, you don't have to do it all as well. So I'll wrap up with that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Hyson. Eric, curious for you, like what's flowing through you on that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think most entrepreneurs would say that it takes years to become an overnight success.
Mm.
And when I've hired people or led organizations, I want to know what people have learned, not what went well. Um, you know, Google's a great example. I've said I would never hire somebody from Google or Facebook, both great companies, but it's what I look for and try to impart on other people. I want to see the adversity. I want to know you were punched in the mouth and you were knocked down and you got back up, but also took something from this, that it didn't lead to bitterness. Uh, you know, in I will say, given my length of experience, which is also age, uh, I really try to impart on people that are clients of mine is to say, look, whatever mistake you've made, whatever money you've wasted, whatever you think you're embarrassed about, I've done more embarrassing, wasted more money, and done other things. Uh, and you have to embrace that. And it's no one comes back and says one of the greatest lessons in my life was when I graduated with honors. It's well, in order to do that, I was working a job and I was studying, nights and weekends. It was the hard stuff that forms you and sharpens you. So, uh, if you want to go down that path of growing, um, embrace being embarrassed and looking like a fool and making mistakes, and really try to kind of learn and grow from them.
Yeah,
And that grit.
this was good.
So
Yeah,
important.
what were you saying, Hyson?
I was like, yeah, that grit is so important. That resilience, that failing forward, and I'm just so open to like trying new things and just not really concerning myself about the outcome. But it's like as Michelle Obama had the book Becoming. It's like who you become while you're doing these things, and that is really more for me. What's important is like who am I becoming as a person, during life challenges.
Yeah. This is fun. As y'all talk, one part of me feels like, all right, easier said than done. Like and the I'm trying to keep it real, not just like out, no, but like almost like the existential crisis that would happen if like it's like, all right, if I went out and I made a mistake, if I went out and and it didn't work out well, like what if the whole thing goes down? So would y'all mind just sharing here from just like one of your experiences? I'll frame it this way: your favorite moment of failure that you've had along your journey here. Yeah, I've been trying to practice gratitude and like every day when something isn't going right, I'm like, I am grateful for this experience that I'm not loving right now. So I will call it your favorite moment of failure for now. Either of you want to share on that?
Mm. Does it have to be business related or just in
No, it
general?
does not. No, it does not. Like this, we are here as the people you are being. It makes sense that you're successful in business because of who you are.
Okay, got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I will take a stab at it because this situation still plays in my head 20 odd years later. So I am an Army veteran. And one of the things is that I don't like heights. I don't like heights. I don't like it. And one of the exercises was rappelling. And I tried as hard as I could to get out of it. Like they would have like this board and it would tell you like what's the next thing. This is in basic training. And they would tell you what like the next day, you know, some of the activities for the next day. And I would see it and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm not feeling that well this day. So they ended up changing it. And I'm like just, you know, just going around doing our thing. And we get to this place and we have to go up there. And I get up there and I'm like, I can't. I just can't. Like I cannot scale this. I just cannot do it. And I felt a failure because, you know, once again, it's about the team, right? It's about the mission. And I was like, I'm not doing it. I just can't. And like I know all you guys are waiting for me, and I know that, and I just couldn't get myself to do it. Now, eventually I did. But that was one time that I really felt like a failure because not only did I do something that or how I felt affected me, but it affected other people. And no matter how long it's been now, like I still, you know, it was okay. You know, I'm not the first person that had, you know, anxiety when it comes to heights, but
I'm going to give her a bit to come back in here. Here we go. Hey, Hyacinth, you're saying you weren't the first person to have anxiety when it comes to heights?
Yeah. But I felt at that time, I felt like a failure. And it took me a while to kind of get that feeling over. But what it made me feel and believe is that, you know, I'm human, right? And that, you know, with being a human, there are things that are uncomfortable. And sometimes it takes a while to kind of get through that feeling of being uncomfortable and doing things that are for the, you know, that you have to do. And so that was one of the things, and I've gotten over it now, but that was one of the times that I felt that way. But it allowed me to know, I can do it. And that my greatest fear sometimes isn't as bad as it was. Because of course it was one of those things I ended up doing it and it was like, it took 5 seconds. So what it allowed me to do is to face the fears sometimes and kind of like still do it. And I do that now. I used to have anxiety when it comes to like public speaking, and now I do it all the time. But that is one of the things that I've learned. So at that point, I felt like it was a failure, but it has definitely groomed me into now stepping forward and being more courageous.
Love it. Thank you for going there with this, Hyacinth. Appreciate you, Eric. Anything coming on? And if y'all feel like I need to answer it too, like don't let me off the hook. Yeah.
Well, first, I would have been shaken and quaking in my boots if I were asked to rappel off of the structure or the tower, whatever. Maybe I'm not a big fan of heights either. You know, for me, I mean, there's countless. I've been a startup guy for 30 years, and so more of these fail than they do work out. And one of the things you take away from that is you have to keep trying and you have to keep growing and learning, but it does impact people. It impacts people, whether they're employed, whether they're investors, whether they're associated with a company, and you have to take that seriously. It's not just kind of, well, it didn't work out, but really being able to pour into others and try to help them when things don't work out, maybe things beyond your control. And where that has left me when I, as part of my kind of coaching and advising, founders and CEOs is I'll say, look, I don't necessarily care what you want. I care more about what you're willing to do to get that want. And so it's, what are the steps you're willing to take? Because we all want something. I want to achieve this. I want to be in this position. I want to, make this happen. And that's great. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But the real test becomes not everybody's willing to make that commitment and do that grind. And, I mean, you needed to do that, Hyacinth. I mean, what it would have taken to, there was no way around it. And you were able to kind of build that up. The Army doesn't say that's okay.
Not at all.
My son was in the Marine Corps. I mean, as he likes to say, I'm told to do a number of things. So I really is, multiple failures with businesses. I've been fired. I've had to let people go. And those live with you and change, at least it's changed me at kind of a heart and soul level of how to treat other people, even if they're doing a terrible job. I I can accept incompetency. I can't accept a lack of integrity or unkindness.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's things that you're saying that are really captured me. I appreciate it. Eric, when you just said I don't necessarily care about what you want. I care about what you're willing to do to get what you want. We had to like put that out there. So outliers, if you need to see it physically out here, like this quote really came through. It got me thinking. About this other question about like who am I willing to be or who do I have to become and with that like what do I need to let go of, because it's like I find like sometimes I can take the actions but the actions come from like it's almost like a daily having to remind like having to push myself up there, as opposed to being like, oh, okay, it turns out that like I can no longer like be the person that I'm on a weight loss journey right now. I'm like, oh, I can no longer be the person who like tries to just do like a diet and then that's done. It's like, no, I have to actually become a person who eats like in a more healthy way, and that's like that's who I am now. And as a result of that, the actions I take follow suit. And so you got me thinking on both levels here.
Well, I'd love to hear. Since we both shared our
You saw I was trying to slip by. You saw it, right? I was just like,
taking up the opportunity.
Good job. I
Outliers.
love it.
Yeah. And like I
Oh,
usually sit
something
down
dumb
for
and
these
embarrassing.
conversations. But like now you can actually see me like running out of it. Like the right now what feels real. So there's two parts of it. There's two things. I'm gonna talk about both. One of them has just been like even like the business. Like I wanted to say like I'm at a place right now where the business I feel like in my mind for years I'm like we should be further along. We should be further along. More things should be having traction. This should be here. This should be X, Y, Z. And like that's the one that I really don't want to say out loud because I know good things are happening. But at the same time, it's like for my own outlier natures. I'm like, I'm used to touching things. And then people come into me and be like, how did you do it so well? And I'm like, that I don't even know. Like, I just showed up. And so it's been really interesting putting myself in that position. Now that's more of an internal thing around it because it's not like a failure. Yes, no, it's not really there. But I wanted to make sure that I said that because that was the thing that I didn't want to say. And I know that if I've asked you all to show up and bring your being as a leader to the table, so need to make sure that I do that myself. I want to make sure I'm here. The thing that was really interesting to me was outside of that, the element of failure hasn't really like doesn't really feel like it's been showing up, except for when I think about my time when I lived in Singapore. So I lived in Singapore for 4 years, and it was a wonderful experience. I come from New York City. My wife and I went out to Singapore for 4 years. It was a great time. We had about 2.5 years of like open Singapore and then a year and a half. Sorry, yeah, a year and a half of COVID during Singapore or Singapore during COVID. And I think that the reason I consider that there as a like I'll call it like in the failure, like in my favorite failure, was that I went there trying to make sure I didn't show up as like the dumb American or the ignorant American, not the dumb but the ignorant, the one who's like just didn't take into account where I was and their culture and all that things. And what I think happened was that I ended up playing too passively. Like when I wasn't expecting COVID, no one was. When by the time that it showed up, like I had been building something, but like when we left Singapore, I realized I'm like, oh, they didn't really get me. I used to call myself Nemo at the time. Like it's a totally different story about that. But like they didn't get Nemo. Nemo didn't really show up. I was playing behind the scenes here. I was waiting to be invited. I was trying not to break any eggs, like break any eggs or step on eggshells, whatever the idiom is, right? And as a result, honestly, Singapore could have had me or left me. Like I didn't make any impact in that way. Of course, like I wasn't completely gone, but like for the way that I chose to play, I think I played a lot smaller. And so that one to me is one of the ones that I keep coming back to. It speaks to we moved to San Diego afterwards, and like I was just like the only thing I know is that like I'm going to invite. Like I'm not going to wait to invite. Like I don't know if we're going to be here for a long time or for whatever it is, but like I consider myself like Mary Poppins. I'm like I might just fly in on an umbrella, land in your city for however long I'm here. But while I'm here, we're creating magic. We're flying kites. We're doing. You're gonna know. that I was here. And if I have to take off, I might take off without you even noticing while y'all are out there playing because life has been better. So that to me is like the one that like if I was gonna look at my favorite one, um, that's the one that I think keeps providing dividends, which is like I'm not here to be in the shadows, you know. I like and if I am here, we're gonna do something with it. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you, Eric. And thanks for that. Like you saw I literally try to hop out, literally try to hop out the
Literally.
frame. I'm like, if you can't see me, then I don't have to answer,
You're
right?
showing you can't leave.
Yeah, right. That's oh, internet connection. And well, what can I do about it? You know, but I enjoy that too. I really appreciate Eric you bringing that in, and for me to have that experience. Right. So one of the things that I love about this platform and like the spaces that I create is that it's less about the conversation and more about like the exploration of how do we show up in it, right? So even just like doing this as a live stream, doing this as a group conversation, like doing this with the questions coming in here, I love it because it gives us a chance to be like, oh, how do I want to answer this? I just heard how someone else answered it. Like, how do I want to play it? And am I showing up? Like, am I hiding? Am I playing? Am I leaning into an edge and so on and so forth? So I wasn't expecting that edge. I don't think that if you had asked me 2 hours ago that if someone asked me to talk about my own thing, I would have said no. I would jump out of the screen, you know. But now I have that experience to know that okay, like there's some element here of discomfort that was showing up, and now I got a chance to play in it.
Most people have shared that experience. That's
Say it
what
again.
most people have shared that experience. So one of the
Mm,
things I like to try to do is normalize what you might call failure and mistakes.
yes,
Mhm.
And when
yes,
you hear onto like I did this, and this, and I kind of say, look, I've done dumber, bigger, and more expensive.
yeah,
But
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, like welcome to the club, man.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I have adult kids, and they're both early in their careers, and I said, look, no one's expecting you to be perfect. They just want to know that you're coachable and willing to work
Mhm,
hard and you're kind. The rest
mm,
is moldable.
mm, mm. I love that there, and I think Outliers. That's like take that in. I'm taking that in right now myself, and just seeing like, all right, where do you want to go play with this? Where do you want to go? All right, so we went on the failure side of things. Now I'm interested here in not looking at it from. I'm curious about what's keeping y'all on your edge right now, right? So like what's a product you're taking on? Like a way of like you're choosing to show up in the world. What's keeping you on your edge? It might be the thing that requires courage from you. Maybe it even gives you sweaty palms when you think about it. Let's give Outliers a chance to see how you're continuing to grow it and play out there. Anyone want to take us up on that one?
I'm gonna ask Hyacinth to go first here. I'm gonna step away
Okay.
for 20 seconds
Yep. Thank
and
you.
talk as long as you like.
All right, cool. We got you.
Okay, so I'm gonna talk fast so I won't get cut off of it. Okay, so I would say that for me, it is continuing on this path. Like I really am just like I know I keep on saying it, but I'm really just like this open person right now. And I remember just reading something just last week, and it was talking about hats, haircuts, and tattoos. And I don't know if you've heard it before, but
Mhm.
it basically was saying, did you did I cut out? I'm
Okay.
good.
Yep. No, you're good.
Okay. So it was basically
Hats,
saying,
haircuts, and tattoos.
yep. So it's basically saying that you have like these decisions that you make, and there's ones that are like hats. It's like you make it, it doesn't work out. You change a hat, you just put on a different hat. Then it
Mhm.
was like haircuts, and it was like, yeah, you make a decision, you may not like it, something may not happen in your favor, but just like a haircut, give it like a month or so, it'll blow over, it'll be fine, that type of thing, and then you just go through that time for that period of time. And then of course tattoos, which of course are more permanent, right? And so as I'm making decisions, as far as how I move the business forward, things, just on a personal level, I'm always deciding, is this a hat, is this a haircut, or is it a tattoo? And if it's
Mm.
like a hat or a haircut, then I'm just like, let's try it. Let's try it. I feel like I'm in my 50s now, and I feel like before I left like a really guarded, disciplined, life. And now I'm just kind of like, I just am here and just wanting to experience so much more that I think I didn't experience before in my earlier years. So I'm just enjoying things and taking risks, more risks. So yeah.
This when you say this here, there's I'm reflecting on something right now, which is uh, recently I've gotten to a place in the way I've been doing business and et cetera. Where I'm like, I think I need to be, I think I'm showing up in a way that makes me seem more of a beginner than I am. Like I'm not like
Mm,
I'm not owning what it is I create, and as a result of that, I feel like I'm more like this is where we're headed. Like let's just keep going here. Like I hear this, I'm like, but there's been a lot more like opportunities that have been coming my way where I'm like, not
mm,
yet, not now, not just right now. So I'm really curious about like like I feel like my heart wants to open back up to like the expansive like Niyama, which is just like, yeah, let's go do that. Yeah, let's go do that. Oh, that sounds like fun. Oh, that could be awesome. I'm curious about like how you balance the like where you're looking ahead with also just being able to say yes to more, be more receptive to the opportunities that come your way. We'll go with that Hyacinth, and then we'll bring Eric back in there. If anything comes to you, you let us know.
yeah. I think because life has shown me. So of course, like we've turned it around. So I was the other person. Not now, not yet. I don't know. I got to think about it. That type of thing. And now I'm like, yeah, like I'm doing things different now. And I think because I've had enough experience now in the past 2 years that shows me that when you open yourself up, the great things that can happen, the people that you can meet, the experiences that you can have. And so it's kind of like one of those things like success is like when you're seeing things happen and it's kind of like, in a positive way, you want to keep on, doing it. So right now I am like, very exploratory now. And, so for me, it's like my mindset has changed. And I think before it was like a little bit of like ego. It was kind of like, but what if I fail? What if people talk about me? What could, what could happen with this? And I think that was what was guiding me before. And now I think some of that I know some of that has lifted off of me now. And I'm kind of like just living life. And I am, doing things. And I'm just like, I really am not that concerned about what do people think and what will people say and that type of thing. As long as I'm not hurting anyone, killing anybody, breaking any laws, I'm like living for Hyacinth, now. And I think like sometimes, like they say that happens as you get older, you were doing things for like, your family and this. And I mean, I love them, don't get me wrong. But now I'm like really exploring who I am as a person and the things that make me happy and bring me joy. So yeah.
Yeah, that, I love that. And in as I think about it, I'm also in my 50s. You look
Mhm.
better. You look younger. So skincare tech at the end of the session. Uh, you know, for me, a lot of this is, early in my career and I would say the first 15, maybe 20 years, a lot of the things that I was willing to do and take risks were so that I could get to something that I felt like I needed to get to. And I'm not being critical of that, but where I am now is I feel both personally, spiritually, professionally, and cognitively, it's so important to disrupt, the status quo within your thinking and what you do, and to take on new tasks. And you know, I, I love to cook. I like a lot about health and do a lot of working out and eating clean and all that good stuff. And one of the things that you find is from research that I've seen that your likelihood of having cognitive issues later in life goes down if your brain continues to stay active. And the way it stays active is not doing things you've done in the past where it's just a repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse. It's, am I doing something that I've never done before? Am I learning from someone who may be younger than me or different than me? And, you just, if you want to grow and you want to elevate both your career and your life, step into those opportunities and be okay. As I said earlier, be okay with it may or may not work out, but you will take something away from it.
There's a loveliness here in the variety of learning opportunities. You know, I will say that like as a result of this conversation, I'm finding myself opening up more. And I'm a fairly open person, but like I'm like, oh, it's time. I think there's a everything happens for a reason, and there's something in this conversation that says, all right, man, like you buckled down, you hunkered down, you figured out what you need to do, but like it's time now. Something different is being called from you. You know, I appreciate both of you here in the conversation. It's been just an absolute joy here. We're gonna start wrapping up. I think we have enough time for this, so we're gonna go with three. We're gonna ask three questions. Sometimes I only do two, but this time I'll do three. The three things we want to do. How about we do this? We'll share how outliers can go deeper down the journey with you. Let's start off with that one, and then I'm going to bring out two other questions. All right. So, Hyacinth, how can outliers go deeper down the journey with you?
Yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn. So of course, Hyacinth Tucker, on LinkedIn, and there they'll see, as I take this daily journey, how I chronicle that
Mm,
online. So yes.
awesome, awesome, awesome. And Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I also on LinkedIn, and there's not a whole lot of Eric Grafstroms running around in the U.S., so you'll find me.
Okay.
But you know, I'm in a stage. I mean, I obviously need to pay bills and make a living, but I'm in a stage where I really want to keep giving back. And to be totally transparent, I decided we were living in Silicon Valley for a number of years before we moved to Austin, and I just kind of started to move away from that world. And I said, you know what? If you're that angsty Stanford MBA, you're going to fall out of a boat and hit water. I'm not worried about you. I'm happy to kind of provide some guidance and advice. But I want to give to the people who didn't get a chance to go to college, or the first in their family to go to college, or have no idea on how to start a business, but they've got the drive and tenacity. So if you feel like you've not been able to get in those rooms, or you've not had access, contact me. I will. I've got time for you. I have on more than one occasion. I guess this is live and it's going to go out publicly, but uh, I've ignored you know, an investor or a board call to pour into someone else, and I feel like that's who I need to be and who I want to be. So if you're graduating from Wharton with your MBA, you're going to be fine. I don't care if you reach out to me, whatever. But if you're in that other category and you feel like you didn't have access, or you didn't have insight, you didn't have somebody, um, in half an hour or something would be helpful to you, contact me.
Awesome.
Outliers. Like, I feel like what I feel, Eric, as you say this, is it's not just a generous gift. I feel the deep level of connection with that. Right?
Hmm.
Like it's a real and true invitation. I have a feeling that if someone came and said that I saw you here and I decided to reach out because of that invitation, it would probably make his day. So like take him up. I'm tearing up on that. We're gonna wrap our conversation here with the last two questions. I always get the questions I have. It's called outsights and insights. Outsights and insights. So I'll go probably to both of you on this. So I'll do one at a time. So outsights and insights. The way that this works is that an outsight is something that you want to share with outliers. So like it's something that y'all are coming up here and be like, hey, outliers, if y'all, I want you to walk away with this. All right. The insights are putting outliers to the side. What's a way that this conversation has changed you? What's an insight that you are taking and leaving this conversation with? So one of outsights go to what you would like them to take to walk away with, and insights are about what are you leaving this conversation with. And on the insight side, if you're not leaving anything with it, like don't make anything up. Like we're good, you know. But like if something comes to you, do share it. Eric, we'll start with you. I think Hyacinth coming back
Yeah.
in the room.
So you said this before we got into the show here. Um, a random guy sent me a random email, and I did a quick Google just to make sure this was legit. But what I'm coming away from today is just a reminder of making yourself available. Take that call, that email, that invite from a stranger, and don't think about what it may or may not be. Don't make assumptions in advance. And so I try to be a very intentional and authentic person, and came away with feeling like this was, a very authentic conversation with just awesome people. And I need to do more of that because I get busy.
I feel you. I feel you. Is there anything that you want to leave outliers with, or have them think about themselves?
You know, Everybody has self doubt. Everybody lacks necessarily the background, the resources, the skill set, to try new things. So move past that. Look, I have a journalism degree and ended up doing, multiple CEO, CO roles in venture-backed companies in Silicon Valley. I had on paper no business doing that. I've got a board call in an hour or two and going to be presenting a financial model. I'd never taken an accounting or a business class in my life. And what I found is that good people will teach you. I owe a lot of what I've been able to be around and do to people who allowed me to ask 100 dumb questions. I guess I'm what you might refer to as a Socratic learner. If you give me a book, I love to read, fiction. I'll read all day long if you give me fiction. But if you give me a business book, I'm going to make it, maybe 15 pages in. I have ADHD. It's hard. I just can't get there. And so there are people, and if you don't think you know those people, go seek them out. Go seek them out. Seek out people who will teach you, who will bless you, who will be part of, your journey, your experience, even if it's in a small way, maybe even if it's a nudge. But don't wait. Do not wait, and do not make excuses or do not doubt yourself. Again, kind of as a faith-driven person, I kind of look at them like, look, the creator of the universe has got your back. So you just need to move forward, let it unfold. And don't listen to the people who tell you can't do it because they're just jealous or they're unhappy. They're in a state of mind that's not helpful to you. Be around the people who will say, send real life experience for me. Did you just send an email with a bunch of typos and no link on your call to action to 5,000 people? Yeah, totally did, man. I've done that. So when I hear that, I'm like, yeah, I've done that too. So get around people who will accept the ups and downs and teach you along the way.
Oh, I appreciate it here, Eric. It's an incredible conversation. Outliers, it looks like we might have just lost Hyacinth for today, but just like make sure to reach out to her and continue the conversation there. Eric, I thank you for bringing your expertise, the way that you see the world, your experience. Like it's been an absolute pleasure all the way through. Allies, we're going to end for today. We'll be back in. I was trying to hold off here. I just heard a familiar sound, which might mean that Hyacinth might be returning. So I wanted to see if we can wrap with her. Um, it looks like it didn't come through. So outliers, just know that that we are rethinking. Oh, she is actually here. She's going to be backstage. She's going to come and rejoin us. Yes. Um, so I'll love for her to wrap with us all here. And this is one of the beautiful things about doing this live and being here in real time. We get a chance to play. Unfortunately, unfortunately, this something's happening, and Hyacinth, I'm not able to bring you back into the room right now. So what we'll do here is we will end this stream right now. We'll find a way, Hyacinth, to get you out there with everyone. And we'll go there. Sorry that it didn't work out there. Outliers, know that we believe in you. All right. And you got this, and we got you. If you want to come and hang out with some of the outliers as we're doing this, you want additional support. I don't think we need to go and do this on our own. Reach out to each of our guests here today. You can also come and join us in the Outliers Edge world, which is over at school.com/outlier. It's a free community. You can come play with us there and continue to practice being all of who you are in that space as well. All right. Until the next time we talk, be you on